Friends, in this video for iThought Wealth, I'm going to talk to you on the topic, the relevance of wealth studies. We all know that intense study of markets throw us inferences. These inferences are dynamic, they are not constant. So, if you look at inferences made in a bull market, let us say in 2008, and then compare those inferences in a bear market, let us say 2011, and then come back to the inferences of 2021, wealth studies keep throwing up a multitude of inferences, not necessarily consistent. They always pick up what the market has just picked up in the recent years. At times, they also tend to exaggerate exactly the way the market has exaggerated what it picks up. Effectively, wealth studies are like a thermometer or a dipstick or a litmus paper. They react when they come in contact with something which is reactive. They are not inert. And there is no fault in the fact that they react. They are structured to react. It's not that wealth studies are bad. They are chroniclers, but are they teachers? Are they enablers for the immediate? That's the question which we need to understand. We need to be clear that a chronicle need not necessarily be a teacher. A chronicle is there for the future. Go back and read the wealth study of 2009 and then you will know how things are played in these 12 years. Take the bad years, take the terrible years, and then see how those inferences worked. Then take the exceptional years. Take the years like 2008, take 2017 or 18, take the present, and contrast how studies throw up inferences. The real learning comes not from picking what a study of a great year gives you, but from picking up what the study of a terrible year gives you. And that essentially is how thermometers work, right? There's no point taking a year when the temperature is elevated and everybody is febrile and feverish and then saying that this fever is going to last. On the contrary, when you test the health of a person when he doesn't have temperature, you're likely to get a better outcome. Okay, I'm no doctor, so let's stop there. The idea behind wealth studies is to academically explore what practitioners have already done, what Mr. Market has already given a verdict upon. But remember one thing, the practitioner changes his mind, Mr. Market changes his mind, verdicts are dynamic. So, as somebody learning from these things, you have to first understand the dynamics, the dynamism, the tendency to change and the tendency to rapidly revise one's opinions. These are the most important aspects which you must remember when you study wealth, when you try to learn from somebody else's wealth study. Sometimes when you say something which does not sound complimentary, there is a very natural tendency to take it as criticism. This is a binary approach. If you say this is not so great, it does not mean it is bad, right? We have to learn to deal with the gray. Everything cannot be boxed into black or white. Wealth studies tend to box a lot into the white, which should be in the gray. And from gray, they don't necessarily become white, they end up becoming black. And the subsequent studies will quietly ignore whatever happened or mention them in passing, because the purpose of a study is more to celebrate excellence than to identify hubris, right? We all want to tell the world how success is generated, and that's what the world also wants to hear. Abject failure, disastrous governance, a descent from a good place to a terrible place is never going to be of interest to most of the readers. Naturally, mistakes that crop into studies will be quietly buried. So that in essence is the problem of taking wealth studies too seriously, especially in markets which are extremely elevated, where valuations are rich and everybody is high on the markets. That in essence is what one must understand, and then we are free to read every study, we are free to take everything in. We know where the pinch of salt must be laid, and we will be cautious in taking our inferences and not rushing into judgments. The lag between what you infer from a study and how you judge that inference has to be years. It's not days, it's not weeks. So I would probably think that a wealth study made in a bear market is far more educative, far more guiding than a wealth study made in a bull market. So if you're looking for guidance, if you're looking for turning your inferences into judgments, if you're looking to action those judgments, then remember that you need to take bull market studies differently from bear market studies, and you will probably be better off if you know the difference between the two, and if you understand how actioning each type of judgment will impact your portfolio performance. I know a lot of people look for quick fix. Wealth studies are not meant to be quick fix. They are not meant to be Fevicol. They are meant to be fluid, like the water in a river. Allow them to flow and go with the flow. Don't judge the flow and use that flow to learn. That in short is what I would like to say about wealth studies. They are very relevant, but they are not instructive, and definitely they are not meant to be instantly actioned. Thank you for watching this video.